same question, we'll be good. Okay, so I'm just doing a Q&A. So if you have questions, ask, and you can ask later after Tracy asks her questions.
So my first question is, as you get general interest, how is the best way to transition the conversation? I mean, I know you ask them what your goals are and what they're looking to accomplish. And then how do you go and continue to have the conversation smooth without being like word vomit, here's a program, here's what I recommend, or you know what I mean? How do you make that transition?
So like, let's just take your example from the girl who messaged you last night, right?
Yes.
So she messaged you and she just said, hold on, I'm just going to pull up the message so I say it correctly. But basically she just said like, hey, Tracy, like, let me know what, I would love some more info on the nutrition program you're doing.
Correct.
Okay. So what all did you message to her?
So I just, used the template that you had suggested. And I just said exactly word for word.
Okay.
And I said, I'd love to get some more info on what you've been doing, share some more of your story. I mean, I know a little bit, but not a lot. And so I said,
you mean, you know a little bit of her story, or you know a little bit? Okay.
Of her story. I said, I know you've been working on things, but I don't really know much more than that. Tell me specifically what your goals are for yourself and maybe what you've tried in the past. So I modified it a little bit, obviously, because I know her a little bit. And kind of wanted it to obviously sound personable and genuine.
Yeah,
because
for sure.
It's coming from a place of genuine interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she just basically, had indicated to me, she's an emotional eater. She's exhausted all the time. She never wants to exercise. She has some baby fat. Her oldest child is now 9. She says that she wants to get into shape. She gets winded going up the stairs. Her doctor at her last appointment in December told her she needed to lose 60 pounds. So she tried cutting sugars and soda and cutting back on the carbs, but she actually gained weight. And so she kind of, gave that idea. And then it's kind of like, okay, well, where do you go from there? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So she pretty much just told you like her whole story, give or take in what she said, based on what she said and what you already know of her, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So I would personally go off of what she has told you personally, like anything that she's personally told you. And then if you have anything that is any kind of a possibility that it might be an assumption, I would clarify any assumptions before you kind of move forward. So if you're like assuming that she gave up for any particular reason, maybe ask her, okay, when you were trying to lose weight and you did low carb and it ended up making you gain weight, like ask her why did you give up when that happened? Because, we need to know, was she just scared because she saw the scale go up? Was she, what else was she doing? Was she exercising a lot? Was she just doing low carb? Kind of what was going on there. I would kind of clarify that. But pretty much, I'm going to screen share something. I actually just posted. Did you see what I posted in the team page yet? The video.
Which part?
So I posted a video today that just basically said like, here's how to make your own challenge group application.
Yes.
And then I also linked the Google Drive for our team. So like our team's resources. So I would save that Google Drive. Like you can actually save the whole Google Drive or make a copy of the whole drive or whatever, and save it. I think you can save it to your drive. Maybe, let's just see if we can do that.
Okay.
Hold on. I'm going to screen share really fast because I have a convo flow for someone who's interested. So basically just shows you like from invite to invite or them approaching you. Usually it's me reaching out because they've been following something, but occasionally you get people who actually reach out to you. And the more consistent that you are in posting, the more consistent that you are in showing up for your own journey and basically showing people you're building this bridge and you're inviting them to come out onto the bridge. And it's actually a sturdy bridge. It's not just a couple of planks. the more that people are going to reach out to you, or they will approach you. But you have to kind of build the trust bridge. They have to know, like, and trust you. And so that's part of why it's important to post regularly. That's part of why it's important to stay consistent on your own journey. Consistency looks a little bit different for everyone. For you that it's been learning how to find that consistency without the pressure of being perfect all the time.
Right.
It's different for everyone, but sharing your story and sharing the things that you've struggled with, being open with whatever you're, willing to be open with, and working through the issues that you still have so that you can be open with those other issues later. That's what builds connection with people, because you want people in messages who, maybe they're a complete stranger from Instagram, or someone who you haven't talked to in 10 years on Facebook, and you want to be able to message them and just start a conversation, or have them message you and basically just for them to say, I feel like you're me. Like, I feel like you get exactly where I'm at. I feel like I can identify with anything and everything that you talk about. Like, what are you doing? Because that's kind of the gist of what I get from a lot of the people who end up coming to me. It's because they've told me, like, well, I see your posts. You're so real. Like, you're sharing about this, and this, like, and that's stuff that I identify with. Like, the more that they understand you as a person, the easier it will be for those conversations to start and to flow more easily. The other piece of it is that conversations and understanding how to, have a conversation, there's no right or wrong way, and there's no for sure set way that any one conversation is going to go. I can give you examples. And so that's what this is. This is an example of basically someone who I invited her. She had told me she was interested in the past. This time she said, okay, yes, tell me more. And then I kind of put in here in the italicized, whatever, this highlighted stuff. This is her response to me. So she tells me, where's her fitness level? What's the stuff she's done? What kinds of, food intake does she have? That kind of thing. So I'm basically just asking some clarifying questions. And then I responded to her in a voice message. And I basically just talked to her a little bit about some of the information that addresses those goals and those concerns. So this girl told me she has, she's been trying to get, smaller portions, trying to get veggie-based dinners. She's been stress eating, but overall she's like just had feelings of, being icky feeling because her eating hasn't been feeling so great. So for her, I addressed talking about Shakeology. I talked about the benefits of that to help with cravings and with digestion. I shared a little bit of my story with Shakeology. That's part of why being a product of the product is important, and doing what you're saying you're doing is important, because then you can talk to them about it. And then this was just kind of like in here, like basically I just said, do you feel like, if you feel like this is something that you really want to do, after I gave her some kind of general information about what I felt would help her, then, sorry, I'm trying to I guess it's like, I'll just try to be super specific. So she said she's been walking up the flights of stairs. She's been trying to work out at the gym, but having a hard time getting to the gym was one of the things that kind of stood out to me, is that she wasn't always able to get to the gym. So I talked to her about Beachbody On Demand in my voice message. I basically just told her like what Beachbody On Demand is, how she would be able to access it, the consistency factor of having the accountability group and being able to be accountable to a group of people that are working on like-minded things, similar goals. And then I just basically asked her if she thought that doing workouts like the ones that I described and drinking Shakeology, having the nutritional benefits of that, if that sounded like something that would help her, and to let me know by, what kind of budget did she have. And so then she just said, well, budget-wise, I don't really know. Throw some numbers at me and I'll tell you what works. So I led in this conversation, with Beachbody On Demand for just the base cost, $99. And this was partly because of some another coach that I talked to at Leadership, who she just said, like, when you're in sales, and they teach you this like in any kind of basic sales, not network marketing, but just sales for anything, they teach you to start with kind of the medium package. So what's going to give them the most value that they could get, but not be over the top, like scary budget wise. So she just basically said, lead with Beachbody On Demand, because at the time that was the only thing we had, was just Beachbody On Demand for the entire year. And then just ask her, okay, like, how does this do? How does this sound? And then move on from there and explain, okay, well, baseline, you've got Beachbody On Demand, but I also mentioned Shakeology down here. So initially when you sign up, you have a one-time opportunity to upgrade, and you can like pay an extra $60 to get a month of Shakeology, the Portion Fix containers, and that's going to teach you proper portions. Just a couple different like notes about that. So like you can kind of see from the stuff that's, I think I meant to highlight the rest of my conversation in blue. Whoops. But you can see from my conversation, I'm trying to not do a ton of the talking. I'm trying to like kind of ask a few questions or give her a little bit of information and then ask another question. So let me stop the screen share really fast. Oh, did I ever screen share? Hold on. Tracy, you're muted. Are you there?
Oh, I'm listening. Sorry.
Okay.
I don't know what it was, but
No, you're totally fine. I just realized I wasn't even screen sharing. Sorry.
there we go. That's okay. I was just like, okay, well,
Well,
maybe
I
it's
guess.
because I'm on my cell phone, and so
No,
maybe that's
it
why,
was
but
just
that's fine.
because my dumb computer didn't click the button. My finger didn't click the button. It's not my computer. My computer's an inanimate object. Okay. Screen share. Okay, so this is just an invite. This is like the ideal conversation. This does not always happen. This is someone who she was interested in Beachbody On Demand and in Shakeology, but I had to basically walk her through the value of it. That's pretty much the first step, is that I respond to her goals by talking about the products that address those goals or those problems. So in the case of your girl, she talked, you talked a little bit about emotional eating. You talked about struggling with feeling like she's had any success in the past with any kind of a weight loss, anything. Her thing, she needs to look at information on the 2B mindset. Like hands down, 2B mindset.
Absolutely.
The easiest thing okay, so hold on, let me go back in here. So if you look in here in the resources, then right in here, there's a little spot that says inviting scripts. And this is where you click in to find stuff about 2B mindset. You can see stuff for like Combo Flow for someone who is interested in signing up. I guess I should change the title of that to say for basically start to finish. Like Combo Flow. Does that make sense? Like if you see that, like without trigger memories. Okay, start to finish of sign up or something. Okay. So that's just one example right there. But like for your girl, let's just jump to your girl because I think that will help the most. Where did it go? 2B mindset. Okay. So they ask about what's this program? And when they ask for info, I pretty much have just been telling people, I mentioned my post because I had posted that post last night that had a bunch of different things that said like, I feel this, I feel that, I feel this. And so I asked them like, what are the phrases that you identify the most with? Because then I'm making them go back and read the post, because if they didn't actually read it, then I want them to read it. So, I mean, you could take that line out, but easily just, I saw you wanted some info on this nutrition program that I'm doing called the 2B Mindset. Just to give you a brief description of this. And then I pretty much just copy and pasted some stuff from the FAQ. So it's just the 2B Mindset is a weight loss program and a breakthrough way of eating that will have you staying full, satisfied, instead of hungry and deprived. No counting calories, measuring food, cutting food groups. I don't know what that is. I think I might have accidentally typed something there. But you eat a lot, you eat food you love, and you live your life. This program helps you change your mindset about food and conquer the underlying reasons you've struggled with weight and teach you to keep it off. This video is a little preview about it, and if you think this is something for you, I'll add you to the info group and we can check that out. You can check it out before it launches tomorrow, which it launches tomorrow. So ultimately tomorrow you could still add people to the info group, but tomorrow I haven't added in tons more of this.
Beyond that. Okay.
But like beyond this part of the conversation, because I'm not really past this in the conversation with anyone about 2B Mindset yet. I mostly am just like, here's the Facebook group. I'm tagging them in posts. We're talking a little bit on, behind the scenes, but ultimately I think that your girl, she needs the 2B Mindset. She might eventually want Beachbody On Demand, and she might eventually want, because, eventually she is going to lose weight and she is going to feel like she can exercise. And so having Beachbody On Demand accessible to her, even if she can just do low impact stuff to start, or just yoga, or just do it once a week and just try something and just test it out. That would be a really good resource for her to have. But
Okay.
I would pretty much just talk to her, like ask those clarifying questions.
Okay.
And then I would talk to her about how the 2B mindset, about how Shakeology and Beachbody On Demand are going to address her concerns or the things that she struggles with.
Gotcha. So I'm going to regurgitate a little bit briefly in what I'm hearing you say overall.
Yeah.
Basically, by asking clarifying questions, what you're doing is you're finding out what their true need really, really is, and then using that need and explaining the benefit of why this is something that will help them achieve whatever that goal is, whatever it is, whatever.
You're pretty much just building the value around, like, okay, you told me that you struggle with this. If you struggle with emotional eating, you need someone who can help walk you through the basics of nutrition. We have a nutritionist now, Alana Molstein, who she's created this program called the 2B Mindset, and it literally walks you through step by step from the very beginning to create a lifestyle that is sustainable so that you can lose weight, so that you can be happy and still enjoy the food that you're eating and enjoy time out and enjoy, all of these different things that are a part of your lifestyle, but learn how to incorporate healthier choices. So that would kind of be what I would maybe say to her. And then really it's just continuing to ask clarifying questions as you go through the conversation. So then she might ask other questions and you might say, okay, well, based on whatever her response was or her questions, then you might have to address another concern. But ultimately, she's told you like that she's interested in this nutrition program. Really, what her problem is it's not that she needs a nutrition program. Her problem is that she needs a mindset shift. She emotionally and mentally needs the support and the support system of the challenge group, of the the positive people in her life who can help sustain her through a journey like this. And that's something that you can offer her because you're going through it right now. And there's no, I am way less relatable to someone who has to lose 30, 40, 50 pounds than someone who is literally in the process of losing 30, 40, 50 pounds. When I was postpartum with my babies, it was so much easier for me to just be on the same page as people because I was on the same page. Which is why it cracks me up so many times when people are like, well, I just don't feel like I'm far enough into my journey to coach right now. And I'm like, baby, you are on your journey. And that is the best thing you could possibly be, to be a coach. And sometimes we need a little time to figure out things, and that's totally fine. But it is such an invaluable, relational piece, I guess, is what I'm saying. So
it allows you to be genuine. It allows you to be less fake. It allows you to be a person.
And yes, and you can totally just be a person. And so that's why when I'm talking to people, I really have to kind of put myself back into those spaces and just recognize where they're at right now and relate to them. And just I get what you're saying. And basically I just tell them, this is something that's helped me. This is how I think it can help you. If that makes sense. So I will give them a brief little bit of my story sometimes, talk about, if they tell me they struggle with digestion, I talk about how Shakeology has literally changed my digestive system because I have a healthy digestive system now, whereas 3 years ago I did not. And it was really, really frustrating for me back then. I don't go into all the gory details, but I just basically let them know, that is something I struggled with. This is what's helped me. So trying to think if I have another example. One of the things that I really like doing, and that I kind of just based on your busy lifestyle, I think that you would probably really like this too, is getting comfortable talking about it. You're going to stumble over your words at first, and it's, you can really, when I voice message people, I sometimes will just tell them, I apologize. If anything I say doesn't make sense, please let me know. But it helps me just to be able to talk about this. It forces you to be concise because you can only use 1 minute voice messages at a time.
Right.
And that 1 minute time limit really makes you think about a little bit before you actually message them and say, okay, well, what do I want to say in this 1 minute? Because you don't want to have 12 1-minute things on there. You just want to have maybe 2 or 3 at the most, at a time. And so I would maybe voice message her if you feel like you would be comfortable talking a little bit about some of those things.
Okay.
But ultimately, first step right now is clarifying those questions and then getting her some info on the 2B Mindset and letting her know that it launches tomorrow. and you can, get her more info in the group. And then really the information group, you don't really have to do a whole ton of other talking other than just keeping in touch with her and asking her, hey, what are you seeing? What do you like so far about what you see? What questions do you have? Like asking her those questions, because the group literally is amazing. Like there's so much good information in there, but at the same time, like if she feels overwhelmed, like you definitely want to be there to kind of point out things.
Point her to the right direction, and
like point her to maybe one video instead of like all 6 or however many videos are in there, and then just like tag her in the testimonials so that she can read some of the people's stories, and because they're really relatable, like Melissa's and Carrie's, I know for sure is in there. Those kinds of stories are the things that people read and they're like, I get this, like this makes sense because this is me, or this was me. So that definitely helps. So I would really start there. But in general, the more that you talk about it and the more that you like basically experience different things. So doing the different workouts, if you're doing ADD obsession, it's a lot easier to talk to someone who asks about ADD obsession. Even if you haven't done the entire program, like ideally, if you do at least a little bit of it, you'll have a better idea of how to explain it to someone, because you're going to have people from all walks of life who approach you. And so you kind of need to have a little bit of a baseline knowledge of all the different programs, not expecting you to gain that knowledge overnight. But just, recognize that if you have someone who's asking you about a yoga program and you haven't tried the 3-week yoga retreat, then take the time to go and look at a video about the 3-week yoga retreat, research a little bit and understand what's available. That way, what you can offer that person, and you also know kind of if it would be a good fit for them. So, I don't remember if I put it in here. I think I did. Maybe I did. So, just because I'm recording this and hopefully this helps. So this down here, I went to applications, and then it's just this basic Google Drive document. This is basically what to talk about in a challenge group info video. So when you make a video, I pretty much like literally laid out what I said. This is how I made my videos. I copied Micah's. I literally just wrote notes. And so I made you guys notes. I made you notes based on what I already said. So you're welcome to, quote this and just read it. I think it will be easier, for you to actually talk about it and just kind of get used to talking about it. But ultimately just understand that my first challenge group video that I ever made, I made like 2.5 years ago. And it is not the same. It is not the same video that I still use today. I probably make a new one every 6 months, and I get better at talking about it every single time. And so you guys, everyone else who does this, like you will get better at making a video, and you'll get more comfortable in front of the camera every single time you try it. Okay. So in here, I just talked about, this is literally what my challenge group application video talks about. This helps too, if you have someone who is interested in a group, it helps to just say, hey, can you tell me a couple of your goals, and then ask a little bit of information. And then I just tell them, if you're really serious about doing this, I need you to fill out this application. It's going to ask a few more questions. And basically what I'm doing is I'm saving myself the back and forth of 2-3 days, and I'm taking care of a little bit of the conversation as well as getting the information without typing it all out, all of that stuff. So it's kind of a way for me to shortcut a little bit. And some people listen to the whole video. Some people don't even listen to it at all. And then they're like, wait, how much do I have to do for workouts? I'm like, you just need to watch the video. But I don't talk about cost, mostly because there's just so many options now that it's hard to say exactly which option is going to be the best for any one person. And so I just tell them in the video, like, not addressing cost right now. I will address it later. But just know that this is just some basic information on this, this, and this. And, cost-wise, we will figure out what's going to work in your budget and find something that works for you. Does that make sense?
Totally. Okay. Well, I mean, because most people in reality will be more mindset and avoid doing something because of financial cost rather than the actual benefit.
And I will say, I did talk about the cost. I kept the cost in for almost a year And I don't feel like it was a negative thing for me to tell people, well, it's about 160 for you to start out, like base cost. If you want to get the Shakeology or the Performance and you want to get Beachbody On Demand, your base cost is 160 in US dollars. There are other options, but ultimately, like, some of them would tell me, that's the cost. Okay, I know I can't afford that, but I want to. And so then, you know what I mean? Like, then they saw the value and it wasn't like weird. But I do talk about it pretty quick. Like, after they fill out the application, it's like my next thing. It has some graphics and some pictures that break down the cost of different packages.
Right.
So anyway.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have, I know that was kind of one question. Do you have any other specific questions right now?
Not yet. I've kind of been a person that I kind of immerse myself, even though I haven't like officially been coaching for a while, even though I've had the coach status. Mm-hmm. I've still been lurking, if you will, for a while and kind of getting a good understanding of things, which I feel is been beneficial as I've been making the transition to get where I'm at right now.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And it allows me to now be like, okay, well, this part is of my mind for me, and doing the journey is at a good point. Okay, now I can start the actual sharing of my story and sharing the benefit, because I see the benefit. Mm-hmm. Now I understand the benefit now. So like I said, I expect I will have more. I haven't done it enough to be able to officially have more questions.
Yeah.
To answer. Now, I do notice that you do your challenge groups monthly. Do you have it usually set on a certain week within the month that you find best? Kind of like, how is the best way when you do set up a challenge group?
Ideally, basically the way that I set up my challenge group is I decide, what's my goal for the month. And let's just say, if I were trying to help at least 3 people by the end of the month of May, then I feel like for me, I've kind of been transitioning to this. I used to just start at the beginning of every single month. And that's mostly what I've done. And it's possible to do that, but I've also seen the benefit of having a group that starts kind of in the middle of the month, simply because in the middle of the month, I can be pushing to help people get started at the beginning of the month. So like right now I have people who they're signing up and they're getting ready to start, but they won't start until next week because their stuff doesn't get there till next week. Do you know what I mean? So I think that it makes the most sense to have the challenge group start at least on the first full week of the month, especially if it's like a week like this month where we started on a Tuesday. But I'm starting my ADD Obsession group, like my summer boot camp, basically, for anyone who wants to do ADD Obsession with me, or if they want to do another program, I've said that's fine. But ultimately, like, I'm planning to do ADD Obsession again. And so I've just let people know if they want to do it with me, that they need to get started as soon as possible so that they can kind of get acquainted with a little obsessed, and they can do some of the other fitness programs and feel out if this is a good fit for them. And then it also gives them time to, learn some of the meal prepping things and to get their toes in the meal plan. And so my group for May is starting in the middle of the month on May 14th. That's my ADD Obsession summer boot camp. That's what I've been talking about like for the last 2 weeks. So pretty much at the end of, let's see, like the very tail end of the month, like the last week or so, like about the last week or so is when I officially announced that I'm doing a boot camp of some kind. It's basically just saying that I have a new start date and that I'm taking some new people to get started fresh. Anyone else who's already in the group is just kind of going to keep going. It's ongoing. And so basically what I do is when I have someone new who starts up, then they get like a welcome type email, and I'm working on breaking down the prep stuff so that it's kind of like a little bit of a PDF that's like I'm hoping it will be about 5 to 8 pages total of just like some graphics of things like showing them how to access the app. What does it look like in the app? And just a few things that will kind of help with that. If you guys have any feedback about that, I will show this to you guys before I like officially like give it to people. And I would love to have your guys' feedback on this. Anything you think we should add or take out. Ultimately, though, they need to have this to just prep and get ready, so to speak. And it's kind of just a self-paced thing. It's like, okay, well, if you really want to get started, these are the steps that I'm telling you should do to get started. These are the things that are going to help you the most. And this is what I recommend, those kinds of things. And it's just going to be general stuff. Like I'm going to have a page in there that talks about personal development books, because I think that's super important for people to be listening to something positive.
Absolutely.
And there's going to be a spot that talks a little bit about meal planning resources. And it's not going to be like a ton of information on the page. It's mostly just going to be like, this is where you find these resources. This is where you find this video, because there's videos and resources all over Beachbody On Demand that they can utilize. It's just helping them find them.
Right.
And so anyway, that's kind of the plan there. But I guess I'm like kind of feeling like I didn't really fully answer your question.
No, I understood it.
Okay. So basically, I feel like starting in the middle of the month, like having a group that starts in the middle of the month allows you to build up momentum through the end of the month for the new group, because you can be basically saying, okay, my group started in the middle of the month. Now I need to be working with that group and talking to them about, potentially about coaching, but then I also need to be looking for who's my new group going to be come, middle of May or middle of June, whatever the next group is.
So by starting in the middle of the month, it allows you to get that first group started so that you can focus on getting the other, and they're already somewhat quote unquote self-sufficient.
Yes.
To a degree for you to be able to start a new group. Now, do you start a new group in the app every month or so, depending on the length of your boot camp?
Originally, my plan was to do basically every 3 months, I would do a new group in the app. That was my original plan. I haven't actually done that because I think that I was talking with my success partner, Jamie. She's done a group with us before, in the past, but basically, we just kind of decided we felt like we just liked rolling people in. But here's my thing. I am open to doing basically like a prep week. And so it would be its own group in the app, and it would just have the prep posts. And so it would just have some videos about meal planning. It would just have videos kind of like from the document, but it would just be like in this challenge tracker group. The only thing that concerns me about that is then is it going to be too weird or confusing for people to have to switch, from, okay, well, I just did this 7-day prep group. Now I have to switch to this other group. Is it in my head? In my head, it's easier to just say, here's a document, here's the videos, go through this over the course of the next week. When you're done, that's great. You'll be ready to start. Keep in touch with me basically. And if you have questions, I'll answer them. You can ask them in the app, that kind of thing. I feel like the self-paced is kind of a little bit easier for people.
Right.
And at the same time too, it's nice because then they have resources that they can turn back to if they, because then it's not like I watched the video once, crap, where's the video? It's like, here's the video. I can click on it again. I can watch it whenever I want.
Right. So have you thought of when you're doing, and I'm just throwing out ideas in my own brain, but have you thought of doing a prep week? Let's say you're doing a 30-day or a 21-day group, right? It starts in the middle. Have you thought of starting that prep week a week early and still adding people into it and keeping that prep week and then having it still officially start? Is that what you're kind of?
So I've done that before where I actually have posts in the group and they go into the My Challenge Tracker group, and I have shied away from doing a full week anymore. I usually just do about 3 days. Just because we can just do a couple things on one day and a couple things on another day. And so 3 days tends to be kind of the attention span that people can last for
Focus on.
and focus on it. It's usually like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday that I'll kind of do that kind of a thing. And so like for something like 80-day obsession, or if we were doing like the launch of like, there's going to be a new program in July. So when that happens, like there will be a separate group for that program, and it will just be people doing that program, like just like the 80-day obsession group. And we'll have a week of prep or however many days of prep, and we'll follow, the trainer's recommendations for whatever that is. As far as like just a general prepping, getting people ready to start kind of a thing, so many people are just doing different programs that I don't put prep posts in the Challenge to Group app every single month, if that makes sense. Like I don't start a fresh group of posts for prepping. I basically just have them in, I'll show you. I have them in this document. Screen share. Where'd it go? This one. I have them in this document that I'm going to turn it into a PDF after I save it. But it basically just shows like, hi there, like welcome letter. I'm going to have like a graphic that just has a picture of like JoyFit crew type thing. And then this is just a welcome, gives the expectations, shows them how to access the group, and says, has a couple pictures showing them what it looks like for different areas of the app. Talks about like, how are we going to communicate with you as coaches in the, in the Challenge Tracker app? Just a couple things that it's important for them to know, but that they don't like, I don't want to have to like post this every 4 weeks. And then after this, then I'm going to be having, I don't know if some of this is kind of repetitive because I haven't copied and pasted some of it out, but I have another document that I had made that it's basically a list of like 6 different posts that I used to make all the time for a new boot camp. And it's just in one document, and it's the same kind of thing. It's just literally just showing them, okay, first step, you need to open your box. Second step, you need to do this. Like third step, you need to do this. And so it's kind of just walking them through the process of whatever program they're doing. This is how you kind of get ready. And then for anything more specific, then we would obviously go more specific.
That makes sense. So then it avoids you putting in the effort every time. You can just send him this document.
And basically like, here's the stuff you need to take. Like, I don't want to hand feed, like finger food or whatever. I don't want to like feed people everything, spoon feed. I don't want to hold their hand the entire time. I will hold their hand for parts of it, and I will help them, through different things. I will refer them to resources, but ultimately my job is not to do this for them. I don't need to make them meal plans. I don't need to like basically do everything for them. I need them to take the initiative and recognize they have a resource. They need to use it. They need to learn about it. And so that's kind of like the expectation that I'm trying to make sure that I give people is like, hey, here's your resource. It's in your hands. You have to do stuff. Because that's what's going to help them the most. And then as, of course, as they have questions, I'm always here to answer questions.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you find that it's easier initially for your new coaches to just add people into your existing group as they are building momentum and building their way around building everything? Do you find that beneficial?
Yeah, for sure. I would say like at least for the first 2 to 3 months that you are actively coaching and working your business. Like if you are really committed, you want to help people, you actually are committed to building this kind of a lifestyle, not just for yourself, but you're committed to helping other people build this lifestyle too, then you need to be kind of in the group and be watching, how does this group work? How is she doing things? Pretty much what I do is I have resources in the group. I have the prep document or email that goes out and just basically walks them through getting started. And then from there, I have a daily post with check-in questions. It's just once a day that I post really early in the morning so they can see it throughout the day. It's that one post that's maybe it could be motivational, could be a recipe, might be like a tidbit of information about Shakeology or the beach bars, like something along those lines. It could be just something that's basically going to add value to their journey and add an additional resource or, something that will help them kind of thought-provoking, that kind of thing. I like to do a lot of personal development type things. That's why, like today, I shared the Mel Robbins video. And what was I going to say? And then I also like, sometimes I'll do, like little mini challenges. So like I might challenge people to go and like share a picture and like actually share it on their social media or share a post. And I've been giving them examples of that. Like examples of what to post. And that's partly, I feel like that's been helping some of like our new, the newer coaches on our team, because I feel like it gives them a guide of, okay, here's an idea for a post, go post this. And then it's like, okay, here's some conversations that could be happening. And at the same time, it's also really good because if you're telling your challengers to, to do something like that, like, okay, you've been doing this for 2 weeks now, or you've been doing this for a month now. How do you feel? If you're feeling like this has helped you a lot, like, are you willing to take the courage and the initiative to share about that? Because you would not be here if you had not seen the post that your coach did. And ultimately just basically showing my challengers or my discount coaches, you could be a coach too, but I'm kind of like sneaking it in there. Like, basically like, oh, you told me you don't want to be a coach, but wait, you just posted this and you had like 20 comments. You should really think about coaching.
Okay.
That's just kind of like in my head. That's something that I've been starting to do the last month and a half or so that I feel like has been helpful. And so pretty much though, the structure of the group is that I feel like it's kind of like a community type thing more. And that I'm kind of prepping them along the way first and, just helping walk them through things and answering questions. But ultimately, like, and I stress this in the prep thing, I stress the importance of like, you need to pick a program and you need to commit to that calendar and do that. Like, print the calendar out. If you say you're going to do PIO, then you do all 60 days of PIO until you're done. If you have a bad day, you have a bad week, that's fine, but just continue the program the best that you can until you're done. Just because that's what's going to build them. That's what's going to give them results. That's what's going to build the consistency. It's the way that Beachbody is created, is that we have these simple programs and their calendars and all these awesome things. So, oh look, there's your fries.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Hi. Can see you better now. All right. Well, I need to go because I have a crap ton of Instagram messages to answer.
Okay. Well, that's helpful.
Okay. Well, I'm glad that's helpful. Please ask other questions.
Okay.
And my other thing for you, I was going to ask you, I need to double check when it's starting, but we usually have a 2-week new coach boot camp.
Okay.
It's a separate group in the My Challenge Tracker app. It's a new group like every 2 weeks. And so you can like be in it for the 2 weeks. And then if you want to, you can do it again and we'll just plug you into the new one.
Okay.
But I think that you doing the training would be helpful. But okay. I don't want it to get distracting, if that makes sense.
Totally.
Ultimately, like the most important things for you to do are the 4 vital behaviors, which is be a product of the product, post about your journey, like, which is inviting, and, talking with people, doing your personal development, and then, just being a positive impact on in other people's lives. Like, those are the top 4 things. And if you do nothing else, like focusing on the top 3 and just doing your journey, your personal development, and sharing that will give you a solid foundation. Okay. So I will ask about the boot camp and see when that's starting, and then we'll see when we can get you into that.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, have a good night.
You too. Bye.